We're live. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. Welcome, welcome all. Hey, Eric, I am always late. Where is RT Bear? Where is he? I'm here. I'm right here. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. Got a great show lined up for you guys. We got some reveals, got some black and white reveals. We're getting closer to the launch date. We still have the Indiegogo pre-launch page up. So if you haven't signed, please do so. But I'm going to give a little bit of time to get some signs of life here in the chat. I know Dan Frega is live right now, and I was so tempted to jump onto his stream, but I have to keep my word, man. I had an 11:30 announcement. Well, I was going to start the show at 11:30. We'll make the announcement in a bit, but I got to heat up the crowd. I got to warm them up and start a fire with my hands. You can't start a fire with your hands. I'm just making it up. Unless you're like a mutant of some sort, then you can do that. But I'm not a mutant, so I can't do that. Go art stream. Yes, yes. I got a reveal for you, Aaron. Are you sitting down? Soon. Soon there will be a reveal. Jim O'Reilly is in the hizzy, and we got Roland. Rolling. Get those doggies rolling. Yeah, Dan Frega. Oh my gosh. Frega boom. There we go. The chat just exploded. Thank you guys. Film Noir. Yeah, I'm gonna do a big black and white announcement in black and white. So that's my whole thing today. It's a theme. It is a theme. You got to be creative. You have to entertain the crowd. Sheldon Martin, what's up, brother? I made a sign of life out of cardboard. Well, where is it? I want to see it. I want to see the big sign. Did you use a marker or did you use Crayola? Is this the RT Bear show or the Young Frankenstein? Ooh, I like that. I am Abby Normal. There's nothing normal about me. In his way, Mr. K will challenge the world. Hello, Art. Are you teasing us? Hell yeah, I'm teasing you. I'm gonna show you some layouts, and I'm gonna show you never before seen artwork, and I am going to have a big guest reveal as well. So that's the thing. What is this? Harsher saturation, please. No. Our wolf. Hello. I'm at work. Sheesh. Hey, Matt Cisco. Sheldon says, Crayola, baby. I'm a professional. Hell yeah, man. Whenever I do my signs, my big signs of life, I use Crayola. Have you ever tried to clean Crayola off a wall? Children like to draw on walls. I'm just flashing back to my kid. She didn't do it much. I think she might have did it once, but other kids' house for sure. There was this. We were at this party, some kid's birthday party, and Pamela and I talking to another, just other parents, and this one lady's talking about how she lets her kid draw on the walls because she doesn't want to stifle his creativity. And I was like, well, why don't you just give him a piece of paper and then you can hang it on the refrigerator and then you'll have that piece of artwork forever. I mean, once it's on the wall, there's only one thing you can do is either clean it off or paint over it. So it doesn't last very long. And also, it looks like your kid's a brat. I didn't say that part. I just said you should just give him a piece of paper. Hail Paul, what's up? We got Peyton in the house. Good afternoon, Art Frankenstein. Good day. We're getting a good rally here. I was a little nervous with Dan live, but we're getting some people in here. That's cool. Oh yeah, rather Crayola than poop. Yeah, we didn't have too much problem with Crayola, but like I said on another stream, we did have a little bit of poop trouble with little Amanda when she was but a wee lass. What are your guest initials? LF? I don't know. What's LF? Whose initials are LF? I don't know. Got Lord Crackhead. Yeah, we're getting some people in here. This is good. This is good. Oh, yeah, we got, you know what? Once you get Ethan in the house, that's all you pretty much need. Yeah, so I'll just be entertaining you, Ethan. This will be a one-man show just for you. Gaming or what? $2. Thank you so much. And you guys always remember trademark. Let this be an example. Trading trademark, gaming or what? He knows his stuff. Super sticker. Super sticker. Yeah, Ethan is in. Oh, Fiefeld? No. Rob Liefeld? No. No. I've asked Rob to do stuff for Black and White and things. He says he will, but he doesn't, and I don't blame him. I think Comicsgate is still a little bit too hot for most people to handle. He's too hot, baby. Too hot to handle. Yeah, we're getting some people in. This is good. I switched channels from Frag to T-Bear. Yeah, that's the problem, man. Sometimes these shows overlap, and I didn't want to. I wanted this to be a big reveal, a big, huge reveal. Yeah, we're getting some people in here. This might turn around. You guys are making this happen. People chime in Ethan's name, and why wouldn't you? Ethan has a action figure campaign going right now. It actually is doing quite well. Which, why would it not? It looks amazing. Let's do this. Since I'm kind of I'm trying to stall a little bit to get some people in here. Let's show this off. This is groundbreaking, you guys. This is what Ethan Van Sciver is up to right this very minute. This is his first wave of Cyberfrog action figures. This is just the beginning. This is the tip, as they say, of the iceberg. 212,518. Almost 1,000 backers, 28 days. That means he's only been going for a little over 2 days here with this campaign. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And the thing is, it sounds like a lot of money right now, but when you're putting these toys together, it really isn't. Just sculpting these things, doing the die cuts, the molds, everything. I have a friend, an old roommate, and he worked as a package designer for a Taiwan toy corporation. And so he and I were talking at one point about doing some toys. And he says it's just really, really expensive to do this stuff. So we were kind of looking in a way to possibly take some of their action figures and retool them a little bit and do Black and White and Chrono Mechanics. It was Chrono Mechanics at the time, but it was just way too expensive. So Ethan is not letting that get in his way, and he is taking this to the people, and he is going to see if he can finance this thing. So he's going to need a lot more money. His fixed goal is 400,000, so he's over half. But I have a strong feeling it's going to be a little bit more than that. So let's show the figures off. Look at this. Look at this. This is Cyberfrog right here. The back view. Killer new redesign too from the 90s version. So you've got the turnarounds. You got all kinds of different feet. A stand. It's pretty killer. Nice artwork. There's a stand. Stands are cool because you can actually, what's neat about it is you can have the character leaping, so they don't have to touch the ground with their feet. So when you display stuff, it's pretty cool. So these are stretch goals at 500,000. He will give you 3 sets of hands. That's pretty cool. I dig the designs with the big round joints. It's pretty cool. There he is. There's a battle damage. This is the one, man. We got to get this to 800,000. This is the one I want to see, is the blaster arm. That's freaking killer. I'm a big fan of these type of just big, kind of cool, clunky, just rocket arms, laser arms. It's really cool. There's the retro one that I think is pretty damn cool. And there's one, this is the one with the boxy knees, but there's one that's got this cool expression. Yeah, this one right here. You can swap out the head, man. That's pretty cool. That definitely looks, that's an ode to the 90s design. It's very, very cool. So anyways, you guys, this looks really badass. Go support Ethan. Like I said, it looks really impressive, and it is, but it's going to take a lot more support to get him where he needs to be to make these toys happen. So just wanted to take a little detour there. Detours are always fun. I always say that tangents are the spice of life. You know, zinging instead of zagging, making a left instead of a right. Wait a minute. Am I missing something in the chat? I saw marginalized people. Yeah. Life will call out Disney business failure, like Ethan has. Yeah, I mean, people see it. People definitely see it. Oh, thank you for putting a link in for the Cyberfrog action figure. Yes. I'm using slave labor. Well, that's the only way you can afford these things. Hopefully they're Taiwanese, because also they have little, this is going to sound so bad, they have like little hands, and they can paint all the little details, which is good. You know, if Nike can do it, we can do it. It's fair play. I'm actively trying to marginalize people. It's a tale as old as time. You know, I mean, it depends. I mean, sometimes you could be saving lives too by bringing income and commerce, business to different places, different walks of life, different locations. Joe Bernardo, black and white in black and white. Yes, I'm gonna show you guys some layouts. I've been working on these layouts. I'm 6 pages away from 60 pages of layouts, and I'm going to show you what these layouts look like. This is for black and white, and I'm really proud of these layouts. I think they came out so good. So what I'm doing is, unlike the way I've worked in the past, where I kind of lay out 2 or 3 pages and then I pencil them and then I ink them. What I'm doing this time out, and the only reason I'm doing this is because you know, I want to take a little bit of more. I want to take more time, and I've never had this kind of time before, so I want to experiment to see if this kind of moves things along faster, or at the very least gives me a better product in the end. So the whole book is written. The plot is blocked out. Dialogue, loose dialogue is kind of there, like placeholder stuff, and so, like I said, I'm 6 pages away from finishing the layouts. So it's a 60-page book. So what is that? 54 pages done at this point. I have an epilogue too that I want to do, but I think I'm going to do that as a stretch goal. So I haven't been talking too much about black and white because I wanted to kind of build towards the live campaign. So we're definitely getting closer to the live campaign. So yeah, so this is Whitney Sung, aka White, doing what she does best, and that is just take her frustration and anger out on giant mech and robots. So that's what she's doing here. I don't want to give too much story away, but then the second panel we cut inside, and we see our villain here. He's having a hard time because he's inside that mech suit. So it's kind of heating up, I guess, inside. So she's pulling back the staff, and she's whacking him again. So she's trying to basically break in the protective shell there and get to the villain. He's JC. Well, he's Jake Chang, aka JC. There's a lot of also known as in the Black and White universe. And so this is the villain. This is the guy that has caused her and her family so much pain. So she wants to wreak havoc and have her revenge here. And so this is Black looking at this, and he's an ex MI10 agent, so he's done some stuff. He's got a little bit of a checkered past, so he's done some things that he's not exactly proud of, and some of them are just killing without conscience, and possibly killing innocent people. And so he's got some sin that he's atoning for. And so one thing he's done with Whitney is he's tried to keep her from doing the ultimate, which is killing. And even though this guy deserves it, he believes in black and white justice. And so this is not the way he wants it to be done. And he also knows that she'll be damaged after this. She'll have those scars like he does, and all those memories, those bad memories of things that you can never take back. So he's basically trying to protect her here. So then we cut back. The next panel is we cut back to JC, and he's actually, you know, having a harder time here. So she's possibly killing him here. And so then Reed knows that this isn't going to go very well. So he's this thing in his hand is a detonator. It's a bomb, and he's detonating it. It's a little like magnetic bomb. And so then you see Whitney just get popped right here, and she's reeling back. And so then these are all in order, you guys. So I'm also giving you story. So then we have Reed Blackett, aka Black. He's throwing the magnetic bomb here. And so then you get to see also who popped her. So who shot her are these robots in the background. So all these bots here, what JC, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but these are bad guys. And so she's on the ground now, and she's reeling from getting zapped. Reed is taking action. The next panel, the second panel, is the magnetic, bomb. Oh, sorry, hitting the robot, the mech, and so then we see that Whitney now has turned, and she sees the robots that have now surrounded them, and then Reed is kind of like, oh shit, and then JC in the mech suit is standing up, and he still has the staff, Whitney's staff, stuck in the mech. So when she got zapped, her weapon actually was still left in the robot there. And so he's standing up. So now they got real trouble. They're surrounded by these robots, and they're heavily armed, and they're going to do some damage. So at this point, they have to stand down. So black and white are kind of compromised. And so then we see JC in the mech suit, completely standing. The robots are surrounding black and white, and they're just kind of like, now what do we do? And if you notice, the bomb is still kind of on the robot's shoulder here. So there may be some hope. So, but right now it looks fairly hopeless. So I think this page came out really cool. I dig this the mech design, and it's pretty much the same design as the '90s version. This one is the Uber mech, and it has 2 extra arms. And you can see Reed and Whitney have already kind of done battle with it. So one of the arms is missing, and the canopy is compromised, so it's cracked right here. So then the next page is you saw that JC pulled out the staff, and so at this point he's snapping it in two. So you get to see the mech behind them. They're being surrounded, and JC takes away her weapon. So they're pretty compromised at this point. So then panel 2, you know, JC just tosses the staff on the ground, and they're just like, now what? Now what do we do? And so it looks like JC's going to win. It looks like, you know, Black and White doesn't stand a chance. So this is basically the villain gloating at this point, and he's also kind of monologuing about his plan and what he's going to do. So this is really towards the end of the story. So I'm giving you guys quite a bit here. So then he's starting to walk away. JC is in the mech suit, and he's walking towards this jet in the background. So this is a tarmac. This is an airport as the background. And so then he pretty much just says, end these two. And so the robots are closing in, and our heroes are probably not going to make it. I'm just going to go this far as to say they're probably going to die on the next page. Yeah. they're gonna meet their demise on the next page. Yeah. So yeah, so those are the layouts. So I told you guys we're gonna do some big reveals, but that's just the setup. That's just the setup for what we're gonna do next here. So I just sent the link. So let me catch up with you guys in the chat, see what's going on. Yeah, Black. It's Reed Blackett, aka Black. So Black and White are kind of code names. And Reed Blackett is a play on Reed, what was his name from the Green Hornet? Brett Reed. So it was Brett Reed, so I went Reed Blackett. So it's still the R and the B. And so I've said it before, but I love the Green Hornet and Kato. I love those guys. I came up, you know, the ranks in the 60s, early 60s. So I remember, you know, the Van Williams, Bruce Lee, Green Hornet TV show. And the dynamic is pretty much the same. You know, we got a martial artist with a guy that has gizmos and weapons. And so, yeah, so Black and White are kind of stand-ins, but it's, you know, it's a lot different than that. But it definitely has, you know, Green Hornet and Kato are like the inspiration for it. Oh, cool. Thank you, Lord Crackhead. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. And if you guys could tweet out, let's try to get some eyes on, because we're going to do the big reveal, the biggest reveal of all time. Hey, Pedro Ang is here. What's that? That's the only way to vent frustration on giant mechs. Hell yeah, man. I can't wait till we have robots so I can just destroy them. You know, because they're not real. They're not humans. They don't feel emotions or anything. So yeah, we can just kill them. Oh man, great stuff, Art, or should I say great art, Art. Oh, thank you, man. I do appreciate that. Coming from Aaron Lepresti, that's high praise. I do appreciate that. Old Hack Shack alumnus John Davies. Yo, Ink Master. I do miss you, John. Not only do I miss your work here at the studio at Hack Shack Studios, but you were the mix master, Davies. If anybody in the studio brought up a song, you punched it up, you know, like nobody's business. Like, it was so fast. I mean, you blink an eye and then the song is playing in the studio. Ooh, I like this. Lord Inker. I dig that. We have Philip. We have Philip Diaz from Zaid Comics. What's up, brother? Oh, cool. Comics at its best. Go to Indiegogo to get your comics like Chrono Mechanics and Black and White. Yeah, Black and White is not active right now, but the sign up, the pre-launch sign up page is, and we will go over that. But I think I've rallied the troops. I think I got you guys all hot and bothered here. So here's going to be the big reveal. Are you guys ready? Are you sitting down? Are you sitting down? This is my partner on this project. Hopefully, we will be doing more projects together, more Black and White projects, and yeah, we are going to do some great stuff together. And I thought I didn't want to announce it early because I wanted it to be closer to the live campaign, or Black and White going live, I should say. So, without further ado, here we go. Maybe I should have you guys guess. Okay, we're gonna do something real quick. So you guys try to guess who this guy is that I'm working with on Black and White. So I got one hint. I usually work with a writer. I usually work with another writer. So the Todd father, Del Keown. Oh wait, please no, Mike Baron. Mike Baron's a good writer. The Todd father. No, Del Keown. He's what? What? Oh my gosh, you guys aren't even trying. This is getting crazy. Oh, that is good. That is good. What? What? No. Oh, wait. The chat just jumped. This would be cool though. This is absolutely hilarious. You know what? I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that I would never work with Stephen King. I think he's a horrible human being. I can forgive J.K. Rowling, but I think Stephen King is he's a progressive knucklehead. Ooh, Cecil. That could be fun. Shakespeare. I like that Dunn Ring had to put the LOL, like we wouldn't know that was a joke. Lepresti? Lepresti's busy with his own stuff. I couldn't even book him for a variant these days. Lou Ferrigno? No. Alan Grant? James Cameron? Ooh. F. Nasser? That's awfully darn rude of you. How dare you? Who's Bingo? Oh, Von Klaus? Marv Wolfman. I get along with Marv Wolfman. That would be cool. Walter Simonson. Oh my gosh. These aren't even close, you guys. You guys aren't even, like, that's weird. Like, the closest one so far is like Nasser. No, it's not even close. Spill the beans. Clint Stoker. That'd be cool. Jabba the Cuck. The Moral Compass. That would be Mark Polton. No. You guys aren't even trying. Oh, Rich Birdsall. No. That's a name I haven't heard since Jeff Johns. No. You guys aren't even close. All those names that you threw out are nothing compared to this guy. This guy is going to knock all of their socks off. So without further ado, we have Joe, shadowy co-writer Fulton. What are you, a freaking ninja? What is this?
Who knows what desires for super spy adventure stories lie in the hearts of nerds? Thunderbuns knows.
Oh my gosh, you took this whole noir thing to the next level. That's so good, dude. That is perfect. Yes. So it's Joe Albino Thunderbuns Fulton. So yeah, we are going to do great things together. We have been doing great things together. You just don't know it yet. So how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
Awesome, awesome, man. This pleases me so much to be able to. I'm not. I've never been somebody that is good with secrets. Like ever since I was a kid, I'm like, don't tell me because I'll spill the beans, man. And I sat on this for a long time, and I know Joe was like, you should tell people. We could start building up like some energy here. We could start selling this Black and White Volume 2 thing. But I think there's still plenty of time. We'll get to that point. So I do want you to give a little backstory about our relationship and where it started so
Okay.
long ago in Corona at Miguel's.
All right. Yeah, you want the origin story.
Yeah, because I think people. I mean, this is the fun thing about doing these live streams is we can get into this stuff. How people meet, how people network. All of this stuff. So yeah, tell the tale.
Yeah, so basically, I was working on the Outliers, a property, and I had a list of artists who I wanted to potentially try to recruit and hire. And I allowed myself the luxury of one name that I knew almost certainly would never happen. This was just, pipe dream type of stuff. But
Right.
you miss every shot that you don't take. So I decided to take the shot. And so I bought a page of original black and white art from Art. And I had suggested that rather than him ship the artwork to me, because Art was living in Southern California, and I live a little further south in San Diego, and so
I have to read this. Joe and Art in a relationship? I thought you were happily married, Joe. Wait, so I'm not happily married? It's only Joe.
well, little does Eric McIntyre know that we've had family get-togethers. Yeah, and actually, the story will move to that here in a couple minutes. So anyway, I said to Art, instead of you shipping the artwork, because I just couldn't stand the thought of getting damaged in transit. I said, I live close enough. What do you say to me just driving up and buying you and Pamela dinner? Because I had been in Art's chat for at least a year and a half. I mean, ever since he started his channel, I was one of the first people in there.
Pamela, like you were one of the first names that she actually remembered. Like Thunder Buns, like mission accomplished, dude. With that name, yeah, it sticks with you.
Yeah. So he said, "Yeah, that sounds great. Let's meet for dinner, and we'll get you that page that you bought." So that's what we did, and I mean, I don't know what you thought, Art. I thought it was going to be maybe an hour dinner, maybe at the most two if things went well. And we were there for something like 5.5 hours. We almost closed the place down.
Yeah, it's amazing when you meet kindred spirits and you don't know where they're going to come from, right? And you just connect with somebody. And the hour that we were going to do, for dinner, ended up still seeming like an hour, but it was 5 hours. I felt bad because you still had to drive back home.
Right. Yeah, I had an hour drive back home. But I mean, it's one of those situations where, once in a while, if you're fortunate, you might meet somebody who you meet them, and after that first meeting, you feel like you've been friends for years, and that's how it was for me, certainly. And so basically, shortly after that, well, I had volunteered, Art, because your writing partner on the first book, Taylor, had moved on to pursue a different career, and so you were live streaming solo. And I remember, because I was in all of the chats for your live streams, and I remembered you saying something like, you missed having somebody who could read the chat for you while you were drawing or inking. And so while we were at dinner, I think maybe we were walking out the restaurant, and I said, hey, if you still need somebody to read your chats and stuff for you during your live shows, I could do that. And so you ended up uh, asking me if I would do that. We did it. It worked out well. You invited me to join the Pontificators, and that worked out well. And so, fast forward to August of last year, and we were at your house, me, the wife, the kids. We were having a little barbecue pool party, basically defying the dictatorial mandates of our dear leader, Chairman Newsom, who tried to lock down the entire state.
Well, I have something for Gavin Newsom. I don't have to deal with that a-hole anymore. We have better leadership here in Texas.
That's true. That's a fact.
That party was great, man. Your kids are awesome. No fear, because we have kind of a bluff. Like the pool was kind of built into the hill, so there's this big rock wall, and
Mhm.
so I think I mentioned that we could jump off there, but I wanted to check with you and your wife first, and you guys went, yeah, they're cool with it. And I think one of them was a little trepidatious, but I was thinking, oh man, they're probably not going to do it. And so then I think I took the first plunge, because there's like this little well, it's a big rock, but you can kind of like jump off of it into the deep end. And so I did it, and the next thing I know, man, your kids are just like getting out, leaping off, getting out, leaping off. They were a lot of fun, and they were using the wall as like one of those, those rock walls that you can climb. They have little hand things.
Mhm.
Man, they're like goats. They can climb that sucker. And yeah, we had a great time. We ate, barbecued, had drinks. It was awesome meeting your wife. She's a sweetie pie. Yeah,
You let us take a peek into the T Bear Vault, which is a memory the kids will cherish forever. So
the mess of a room T-Bear Vault. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, it's not that much better here.
well, you've got a lifetime's worth of stuff in that vault. It wouldn't surprise me if it takes quite a while to go through it all.
Yeah, it's still work in progress. So
So
then
yeah, we were just standing next. You were barbecuing, and we were drinking some adult beverages. And I, just because we're friends and we talk about stuff other than comics, I knew that you and Pamela had a lot going on in your personal lives and this giant move coming up. And I had talked, and you had told me what your plans were for publishing. Like kind of like for the next 12 months or so. And I remember doing the math mentally and just thinking, man, with all this stuff going on, I don't know how he's going to keep this publishing schedule. And as a friend, I wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help out. And so I just said, you know, I don't know if you're looking for help, but if it would be helpful, I'd be happy to do some ghost writing or ghost editing to help you, stay on schedule, and you wouldn't have to pay me or credit me or anything. It would just be, a buddy helping out another buddy. And you said that you appreciated the offer, but everything, was pretty much taken care of. And then about a month later, you said, "Hey, you remember that conversation we had at the barbecue?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, can we talk about that this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
You're always planting seeds, man. You always got to plant those seeds, because you never know where they're going to bear fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you basically said that, things had changed a little bit and you were in the market for a co-writer. And so you wanted to have a couple conversations to let me know what you had in mind for the property and basically see what I thought about it. And so that conversation was a lot of fun. And
The thing is, like you can know, like I've done this long enough that when you just have these conversations about story, about philosophy of storytelling, and just what do you like, what writers, what film, that type of stuff. And then you kind of start realizing, hopefully, that you're connecting, and that you're figuring out, like, this person is going to be able to keep up with you. It's going to understand where you're coming from, and it's not going to be pulling teeth. Because I've worked with some people, and it's absolutely a nightmare. Like they nod a lot initially, like,
Right.
yeah, I get it. And then
Right.
when it comes down to it, you're like, you look at the script and you're like, what the hell is this? Or you get these people that are low-key egomaniacs.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite, right? And they tell you anything, right? And then you get the script, or like when I ran the ink studio, you tell somebody simple instructions, and the next thing you know, they're doing beyond what you asked them to do. And then you say, why did you do this? It's like, isn't it terrific? It's like, no, that's why I asked you to do just this one thing.
Yeah.
You walk before we run. And so there's all kinds of like different things that can go incredibly wrong with these working relationships. You guys don't understand, like these creative things, they don't happen very often. Like it is like lightning striking. And so when we were just hanging out, I started realizing, yeah, he gets it. You read the story, you had insight, and also you were also kind of projecting where the characters were going to go. When we were talking early on, so that's always good because you were invested. So the next thing I know, we're doing. That's what's cool about these. It's like we're living in the future. I'm sorry, I'm an old man. I don't care. I'm not even going to make an apology for it. But this shit, like we're live right now. We're talking to people in real time. But what you can do is like you have settings in these live streams in StreamYard, and you can go private or you can go public. And so we just figured, well, we'll just go private, and it'll be like we're in the same room together.
Yeah.
And I think what helped is that we did meet early, like we met face to face. So there was no distance, and we had already done like a lot of pontificators together.
Yeah.
And so when we went into it, it was just like friends talking. Like the first probably 20 minutes, half hours, like, how you doing? How's the kids? How's the family? And then we get to work. And it's a blast, man. It's a joy to work with you.
Likewise.
So I'm trying to figure out how much we should actually get into story. I guess we should explain our working relationship, maybe clarify it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If we can drop some story. But so the working relationship is what, Joe? Like, how do we do this?
Well, it's funny. About 3 weeks. We would meet once a week and just spitball ideas in the beginning. And after about 3 weeks of that, you said something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it gave me the impression that I'd just been hired, but you hadn't actually said that. And so at the end of the conversation, I mean, we were just laughing and having such a great time. At the end of the conversation, I said, "So, do I have the job, Art? Or I mean, where do we go from here?" And you said, "You've got the job.
Yeah,
we meet again next week."
Yeah, my brain is always like that. I don't set things up properly, and like key things that I just think are the given are never explained. So my wife, the same way. It's like, well, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, and actually that kind of ties into how we work together, because you and I have very different methods of achieving the same creative goals. And so we take very different paths to get to the same end product. And so in the beginning, it was a little bit up and down, because we had to figure out how to take your way of working, my way of working, and somehow blend them into a third way of working that it would take a little bit of give from both of us, but it worked for both of us. We could both work in that new third way.
Yeah, it's kind of a stream of consciousness, like the way I work. So what ends up, like, I have it in my head, but sometimes I don't know I have it. So then when I start saying it out loud, then it starts to take shape. And then what Joe does is he just kind of guides it. Like, well, what about this? What about that? And the main thing is you're able to take down the notes quickly.
Mhm.
So then we can come back to them later and then kind of start, kind of crafting it more into some kind of coherent storyline.
Yeah, you're very much an intuitive storyteller, and you can start with one little speck of an idea, and your brain just starts going. And so, I mean, in for anybody in the chat who maybe has read some books on, how to become a pro writer, one of the common comparisons is what they call pantsers and planners. And a pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of their pants. It's very stream of consciousness. And the planner is somebody who sits down and strategically plots things out, and then, kind of connects things, and they build it up in layers. And so we had to figure out a way to mesh those two styles, and we did.
I have to take a break here. Like,
yeah.
Pantser jokes, we're just inviting that because there is a shot of my derriere hanging out somewhere.
Is Peyton in the chat?
Yeah, he'll be posting stuff soon. Yeah, go ahead, man. This is good stuff.
Yeah, so basically we figured out a way to blend those two styles, and so the way that the book has come together is that in the very beginning, you had a few very specific ideas that you knew were going to be in there, and kind of what I think of is the pillars that kind of hold up the whole structure, but none of the framing was built yet. And so
yeah, I had a beginning, middle, end, and then I had some key scenes that
right.
I liked. But other than that, how to get there,
there was nothing connecting those things to make a coherent flowing. Hey, there's Peyton Holden and your butt cheek. He says he's always nearby.
He never lets me down.
So so it really came down to me getting a really in-depth understanding of the characters. It helped that I was a backer long before there was ever any thought of working together, and that I really liked the story and the characters, which was one of the reasons why I agreed to jump on board the project. I really like what you set up and where I thought it could potentially go. And so we just started really...
I have to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, man. Where it's going to go, holy shit. This story is freaking amazing, man. Yeah. I'm trying to... I have a third draft of page 60, the final page, but it just keeps getting better and better. The more we talk, it's like I always say, let's tighten the screws, right? So it's always like even when we have a way to go from point A to point B, and what we usually do is we come back, like when we meet again, we'll kind of go back at what we talked about the week before, and then we'll kind of redefine that to get to the next point. And it's constantly just tightening the screws and redefining. I mean, they always say like writing is just rewriting, and that's very true. So then, you have the problem of trying to just contain just the craziness that comes out of my mouth. But I have to say that usually it fits, right? It's not like left field stuff. Like it's still
it's not left field stuff. A lot of times it's one of those things, and you say this all the time. You've said it to me probably more than I've said it to you, which is, that idea in isolation is cool, but can we make it work with everything else that we've got? And and the more difficult question, can we make it work in the limited page space that we have to work with?
Yeah, that's always I like the blue sky part of creating.
Yeah.
I don't like okay, we're on page 57 now of a 60-page story. How do we wrap this up? You know what I mean? Like that's the drag, but I'll tell you, man, it looked like at one point, like the last conversation we had, like creatively, it looked like there was going to be some compromise. Like
Mm.
when I started, like when we left the conversation, it still seemed great.
Yeah.
But then when I started actually doing the layouts, I was like, oh shit, it's not quite as big as it needs to be, right? And so that's another thing about writing. Like there's ideas that play out great in your head, like, God, I want to tell the scene so badly, but I can't. And then when you actually start trying to physically block it out and try to make it work, you realize that it's just not quite what it needs. And so and that's the next thing. I got to get these layouts to you so we can I can show you all that.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing is realizing and not falling in love with everything you do, because ideas can always be plussed. And the one I know I'm gushing all over you, Joe, but I've worked with people and their egos just get the better of them, and they start just injecting all kinds of stuff. And then when you kind of reel them back, they get hurt.
Yeah, they resent it.
Once that happens, it's usually just decline after that. Like the relationship will just start to erode. I'm trying to think if there's any exceptions. No, there's no exception. Once that starts, it usually just kind of keeps going. Like they get hurt again, and then they get hurt again, and then what I used to do is then I would try to compromise, and I would go, all right, we'll use your idea, even though sometimes it doesn't fit, because I just want to keep the peace and I want to keep the relationship working. But like when I worked with Taylor, well, there is the exception. Taylor Grosso was not like that, and you're not like that. Yeah, so that's fantastic. To be able to be in that place where, because I always say it's not personal. Like none of this is personal. Like I sincerely just want the best ideas. I don't care where they come from.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, I would be a fool to not accept something just because it's something I didn't create.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And why would you work with a partner if you don't respect them enough to, bring something to the table? So, and you did, man. I mean, time and time again, just bringing logic to it, and then the connecting tissue, and then throwing out ideas. And a lot of the blue sky stuff is just throwing out ideas and seeing what sticks. And you're usually a fountain of ideas, and just physical, like actual visual gags, like beats and stuff like that. Like there was some gunplay. I felt so bad. We just couldn't do it. Yeah. Because the limitations of, like, anytime you have a lot of action it's not action reaction, but like action that requires almost like animation type style drawing, that's at least 3 pages or 3 panels, and usually a page is like 6 panels. And so those things have to go sometimes just for time. But what I'm realizing, and I haven't in prior, like, writing with people, is that when I'm writing this or when I'm drawing this, there's a substance to this work that there really hasn't been in my work prior. I attribute that to you.
Oh, thank you.
Where things are just working, and that even when I'm laying things out, I kind of hear your voice, and I'm like, maybe it's not quite as resolved as it could be. So like page 60, I added a panel to it, and so when you see it, you'll see why, and some cutaways for character reactions and stuff like that. I guess it's more or less like you hear, like with movies, like pickup shots.
Yeah.
How they have like the rough draft of the movie, and then they'll go and they'll realize, like, there's no connecting tissue between this and this. So maybe just a little scene of a guy picking up a pen will help bring those two things together. And so that's where I'm at right now with the layouts and with the story. So so I have to ask you, I've never asked you, so what did you think when I I told you had the job. I mean, were you? Was
It
it cool?
was it was surreal. Well, because it was still at a point where periodically I just would wonder if I was living in the good version of the Twilight Zone, because I have distinct memories of working in a comic book shop in the early '90s, and I was selling your work to customers. And back then I had never been to a convention, and so the only artist or writer that I had met was a local indie guy. We did a signing in the shop for his new book that he was self publishing. Other than that, I'd never met a writer or an artist or anyone else that worked in the mainstream industry, and never expected to. And so, after we became friends, I would tell my wife, I was like, I'm still not sure if this is reality. I'm now friends with, this living legend of the comic book industry, but he's just a regular guy. And so that took a little while to get used to. But then when you basically brought me on board and said I had the job. Yeah, that was surreal, because it took me right back to those days in the shop, looking at Cable #1 that I had in my own collection, and then I'd be selling to other people, and now here I am working with the guy who did the work.
Well, also I feel like it's like I can learn off you, and that you can learn, off of me. And the biggest thing is that you definitely have a finger on the pulse of Comicsgate and on the indie market. And so the thing about, I think Ethan talks about this too, is it's not that my love of comics has gone away, but I just don't seek them out or really read them anymore. And I haven't for probably 20, 25 years. I mean, the best thing is like when Marvel and DC would give me the comps, like the free books, like I'd get every book that they had published for that month, and so on and so forth. But I would still just rifle through them. You know what I mean? Like I would open them, I'd kind of look at them, and if there was some good art, I would throw them on a pile that I would look later, or if there was something intriguing. But I'll tell you, usually monthly, there may have been one book, two books that I would even read. You know what I mean? And most of the time I was just like, it was okay. So, when there's that rare occasion that there's a killer comic book that comes out, and I hear about it, I definitely seek it out. But I'm not like the monthly guy anymore, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I like working with people that have their finger on that pulse a little bit more, so I feel like that you actually are more connected with a current comic book buying audience than I am. And that's, I mean, it's part of it's by choice. I kind of isolated myself that way, but it is kind of like, it's kind of disappointing. You know what I mean? Like you read these comics that Marvel and DC are putting out, and then it's just like, there's nothing that's really grabbing me. And then sometimes I think, well, is it just like, maybe I'm just too old? Like, when I was a kid, I just bought everything.
Yeah.
But I do think it's just that there's nothing inspiring about it. Like I think that a lot of these writers, like I hate the modern tropes. I absolutely hate them. It's like one of the ones I always say is like, to make the really powerful character shine, they diminish that character's abilities. So to make the Fantastic Four or the villain of the Fantastic Four look better, they take out Ben Grimm. You know what I mean? Or if it's a Justice League story, they'll neuter Superman immediately. Like even when they were doing the movies, the Justice League movie, they had to wait till the last act to introduce Superman. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but they had to, because the story would have been over in the opening act. Superman would have pummeled Steppenwolf, and then that would have been it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not good writing to me. And I like Jeff Johns, but even Jeff Johns fell into that. To make Vixen look better in the Justice League, we make Superman look weak. And so it became a trope constantly, and then it just carried over to like male female now, where to make women look better in comic books, you humiliate or you play down the male hero. And I just think like that's lazy writing. And the thing is, this is what they have to start thinking. I've said this: when you pick up Thor, you want to see a kick-ass Thor story. You don't want to see another version of Thor. You want to see that version of Thor. When you pick up, any of these comic books, you want to see that hero shine. You don't want to see, another hero within that comic book, look better than the hero that you bought the comic book that the title is named after,
Yeah.
And I just think that I think story like writing is asking questions, and they're asking the wrong questions, or they're not asking questions at all. Because for me, it would be like, why am I doing this? This is a Superman comic, and I'm making Superman look bad in
Right.
his own book. Like, and then like with you and I are writing, then you ask those questions and you start thinking, how do I make Superman look better?
Yes.
Like you bring your villain up to the highest level that you can possibly bring them. Heroes are only as good as their villains. So you make the situation where there's no way Superman's going to, I'm just using Superman as an example, he's going to be able to overcome this situation. But you don't neuter him, you don't make him look bad. You have that villain outsmart him or
Right.
outpower him or do whatever. And then Superman has to rise to the challenge and be better and stronger than the villain. Those are the way you write these stories. They don't understand that, and I think those are the way that we get a crowd to rally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what these stories are about. It's like you want to see your hero prevail, but you kind of actually, on some level, you kind of like him getting beaten down too, because that victory is going to be that much sweeter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's one of the things that I like about Black and White is that they're not invincible. They are powerful, sure. They have, both of them have physical and psychological strengths and weaknesses. So that makes for an interesting dynamic when you put them into these scenes with conflict and these threats that really do endanger their lives. And you explore not only how do they react to it physically, but psychologically. And so if the goal is to make the character look and read and feel real, then it doesn't make sense to have them be, at this power level in one story and then down here at this power level in the other story because you want to make this other character look better. It just doesn't work.
Right. And just keep upping the challenge. Like as a good writer, you should go, I want to create the worst, most horrible villain ever to be on the page of comics. You know what I mean? But then I have to have that hero rise to that challenge. It used to just be the given, but it's kind of gone the wayside. And I do think that there is a conceit within the industry that it's corny.
Yeah.
It's corny. And that's also where that contempt comes from with the industry, because they think they're better than the material.
Yep.
But these are biblical tales. These are G versus E tales that should be told generationally. These are tales that should continue. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not want them? They're cliche. They're cliche to you because you've read them all, but they're not cliche to an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old that's coming in. Or somebody that absolutely enjoys these, G versus E storylines. Just try to mix it up a little bit, but don't compromise it. Don't compromise the integrity or the goodness of the characters.
Yeah.
They just blur the line. That's where Black and White came from. The tagline, in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white, because I started liking the gray characters, the gray area characters like Wolverine and some of these other characters that were coming up in like the late 80s, early 90s, well maybe like mid 90s. Um, and so I did like them, but then there were people that could do it well, like Frank Miller or Alan Moore or these guys that could, or Chris Claremont, they could do it well. But then there was a generation that came later, and they didn't realize that fine line to still making them a hero. So they really started mucking up the G versus E storylines. So then almost everything became gray. There was no clear good, there was no clear bad. I mean, The Watchmen is a complete, experiment in that. Like what is good, what is bad. I mean, he really challenges that, but that's The Watchmen, and that was a self-contained story. But people are bringing those ideas over into the mainstream, and I just don't think it has a place, to be honest. I think there can be like a Wolverine character, but within the X-Men, all the X-Men can't be that. You know what I mean? They all can't, be gray area characters, and that's what was happening, because I think writers and these publishers were thinking it was corny. So people want to see, like they thought it was more realistic. These gray area characters are more realistic. But I say they're not. I think Superman, if you had a character that was super powered like that, the origins of Superman are perfectly believable. Within the confines of a superhero comic. He was raised by these really down to earth, Midwest, family, and the reason he doesn't stray is because he has a great moral background, and that's exactly the character that you would want to have the power of these powers.
Yeah.
You would want somebody like that. You can entertain a story idea where he goes off the rail, or like in the Superboy comics where he wants to be the quarterback and knows that he could get the girl and everything like that, if he was allowed to compete, but he knows that it wouldn't be fair,
right?
And so he doesn't, and that restraint is what makes him a hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the line that I've heard so many times about Superman is too difficult to write, or Captain America is too difficult to write. Well, if you don't understand heroic virtues, then yeah, I could understand why you might think that. But if you do understand heroic virtues, then it's not difficult at all. And you can explore stories and story arcs that really get into the nitty gritty of what it would be like to have that sort of power, but also be restrained by your psychology, your upbringing, your surroundings. If you have great friends and family that are around you, and you can explore what happens if you start to stray a little bit away from that moral center, you should see consequences to that character.
Right.
And if you essentially, if you know how to human well, you can explore those things in interesting ways and not betray the core of who that character is and always has been.
And then people are like, well, I can't relate to that. I can't relate to that. You've never been in a situation where you could get away with something and then chose not to?
Yeah.
Hurt somebody, but you get personal gain. As a kid, you're faced with that stuff all the time. Like I could steal this toy from my friend and he'd never know, or just like little integrity situations that come up all through your life. And that, I always thought if it was too easy, why do it? So I never took advantage of any of that stuff. And I always thought if I was going to be a criminal, I was going to challenge myself. Maybe I'm just like A-type personality, but I was like, I'm not going to rip off a liquor store, man. I'm going for a bank,
Right.
But Black and White was definitely, it came out of that time. So, I wanted to create a character that he was, Clark Kent. He was Steve Rogers. You know, he was this virtuous character, but he had a checkered past.
Yeah.
He knows, like, it's like, what if you did have like somebody that was like that, like Steve Rogers, and he thought he was doing the greater good, but then he realized one day he wasn't, you know, but he still has that moral center. So then now he has to figure out, well, what is his moral center? What to him is right and wrong,
Yeah.
you know? And so then what happens in the story arc of the origins that we're telling right now is that Reed realizes that he has his own moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the black and white justice comes from. And so I wanted, you know, him to be one of those characters like Steve Rogers or Clark Kent that you don't question.
Yeah.
You know that he's always going to be a straight shooter. But what if we teamed him up with one of those mid-90s characters? What if we teamed him up with a character that the ends justify the means? What if we teamed him up with a character that could do bad in the name of good? You know what I mean?
And how she would do it with a clean conscience. It wouldn't bother, because in her mind, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, at the moment. But one thing that we're kind of and we did with Volume 1 too, but it comes into play in with Volume 1 and now Volume 2 is that is Whitney Sung's story arc.
Yes,
that's her personal, you know, because Reed understands. Reed Blackett understands being a spy. He has all those skeletons in his closet. He closes his eyes and still sees maybe some innocent people that paid a price for what he thought was the greater good. And so he doesn't want her to be psychologically damaged like that. And he sees that she is definitely going down that path.
Yep.
And so he in a way is trying to save her from herself. You know, and throughout the story, she doesn't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he knows that once it happens, the regret is, you know, once he, you know, if she actually, you know, kills this villain, she's going to be stuck with that decision for the rest of her life. And I think that those are interesting. Like you said, it's the powers that the heroes have, but it's also the psychological aspects, and those are the things that make the characters real and makes the characters relatable.
Exactly.
You know?
That's where I hoped you were going with it, because when we discover comics, whether it's as small kids or adults or teens or whatever, the initial thing often is the flash, whether it's superpowers or it's, you know, mysteries or, you know, whatever type of comics we get into. It's usually the flash that gets us interested, but it's the substance that keeps us there, and it's the human qualities of the characters that get us invested in them. We might think that it's cool to shoot laser beams out your eyes or lift up a truck and throw it to the moon, but that alone, you see that enough times and it loses its cool factor. But if you have that stuff paired with the interesting human dilemmas that real people go through, and then you put a little bit of a twist on those with these, you know, fantastic fictional elements, you weave those in together. Well, now you've got something that provides entertainment. It provides the flash, but it also provides the substance.
This is why I'm working with the great Joe Fulton, man. You had me at the early on conversation going in. It's fantastic. Like, this is the stuff that excites me. This is the stuff that gets me going. You know, is these conversations, and it's funny that. For years, you just stop having these conversations working in the industry. You just kind of do your job. And then with the current climate, with agenda being injected and you know, all this politics and just different stuff, when I have these conversations now and working with somebody, you know, with the integrity that you have and the knowledge that you have, it's renewing my faith in these stories. You know, I have my whole adult life invested in doing this. You know what I mean? Like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
It for me. And then, realize that there's the chat here that support it. There's Comicsgate, and there's all these things. It really feels like it's a renaissance, but it's a renaissance that's kind of getting back. It's like kind of correcting a lot of the things that may have gone in directions that weren't good for the industry. And I do think that once we have a certain level of success and continue that success, I think it's going to inspire the rest of the industry.
That is exactly the reason why I decided to take another run at breaking into comics, because I was going that way in 07, 08, but had a old back injury that got worse over time. And long story short, I ended up getting spinal surgery, and it took years to recover from it. And I knew that I had to put my plans on hold for a long time. But then, I found EVS's YouTube channel through a YouTube recommend in my feed. And that was the end of 2017. And I basically just binge watched it over the course of a week. And then I found Diversity in Comics New Year's Day 2018, and that's how I found Comicsgate. And that starting that day, I said, "Oh wow, these are my people." I had no idea that I wasn't the only one thinking what I was thinking about the industry and where these characters and stories had gone. There's a whole lot of people who are seeing it this way. I'm not insane. I am one of the sane ones, and there's a whole lot of us out there. So maybe if we can let the publishers know what we think, maybe they'll change things up. So it really was, as far as doing my own book, it really was the success of Jawbreakers Lost Souls and Cyberfrog Blood Honey. With Lost Souls, I thought, okay, this might be like a guy winning the lottery, or it might be the start of something really cool that can continue. And when Blood Honey had its successful launch, I said, okay, this is the start of something really, really big, and I'm going to be a part of it, and I'm going to contribute to it, because like you, I had lost faith in the ability of the storytellers that were entrusted to steward the legacies of these characters in the comic book industry. And the titles, I had just lost complete faith in them. I knew there had to still be some good storytellers in the industry, but it just seemed to me like they weren't being allowed to tell good stories.
Yeah, they're being capped. Yeah,
exactly. And so that's when I decided to create the Outliers, because I said, well, the Bronze Age Marvel and DC universes that I grew up with and I loved so much are gone. They're I can only find them in back issues and reprint collections. They don't still exist in modern day. But what if I create, and this is what the Outliers universe is, really, it's a replacement for that type of storytelling. So it's all of the Outliers characters are totally original, all of the stories are totally original, but everything has been designed very specifically to remind people who grew up or were already adults reading comics in the 70s and 80s. It's all designed to make them feel like they're reading something from back then, even though it's set in modern day.
Right.
And so I felt a responsibility like you. Well, what can I do to help revive this thing before it goes completely extinct?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify. I never had grandiose, I never thought I was going to save anything. I was just doing what instinctively felt right.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify from my point of view. I saw all these things and I saw what Comicsgate was doing, but I never really was.
And quite frankly, it wasn't until seeing Jawbreakers Lost Souls and Cyberfrog Blood Honey do those numbers, and having listened to what Ethan and Richard had talked about for so many months up to that point, that's when I said, oh, if I do things right and I reach out to potential customers and let them know who I am and what I'm going to try and do, this might actually work. there's a demand here for the type
Yeah.
of storytelling that I love, and I know that my kids love, and I'm sure a lot of other people still love. And so that's when I started, trying to put all this stuff together. But like you, I didn't. I never had the delusions of grandeur, like I could single-handedly save the comic book industry, but I felt like I had the skills and the knowledge and the commitment to jump in and make a very long term, like I made a 30-year commitment in 2018. So I'm now within the fourth year of that, but I'm in it to win it. And whether or not anybody ever thinks that the Outliers universe like takes the mantle from the 70s and 80s Marvel and DC, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I do know that I will at least have given everything that I've got in me as a creator, everything that I've got financially, because I'm bankrolling my first three campaigns myself if I have to. I've definitely bankrolled the first one, and if I have to, I'm prepared to go three deep, paying for everything myself, and then just crowdfunding to try and recover my production costs. But like I'm pushed all my chips to the center of the table, and this is it. This is what I'm doing. So even if it doesn't become wildly successful, I know that I can sleep well at night with a clear conscience that I gave it everything I had. You're muted, by the way.
And I feel the same. And for me, it's like the clock is ticking, so I don't have very many more stories to tell. So, yeah, I feel the same. Like it's all or nothing. I had the realization the other day, and I was just kind of like, would I even want to go back to Marvel and DC? You know,
I couldn't be paid enough at this point.
Yeah,
and that used to be all I wanted when I was growing up.
Yeah, and then I had the realization. I was like, no, I think I want to do this till I can't do it anymore. Like, I want to stay with Comicsgate. I want to keep, making comic books for this audience. I want to stay here till I can't do it any longer. Because there was kind of it's weird to be an older guy and then think, well, what's my future at Marvel or DC? And then you see kind of how the industry treats older people. Some of them a little better than others, but it's usually the ones that have really created something, or the ones that are still kind of relevant, within the industry. But I would say the majority of them have just been pushed to the wayside.
Yeah.
And there's no retirement. There's no 401k. There's none of those things for comic book artists and writers. And right. So you got to take care of yourself. So then, and not that I was really conscious of this stuff, but then, like I said, the other day I had that realization that, no, I think this is it. You know what I mean? There's nothing else that I want to do. I want to be here. I want to create comic books for Comicsgate audience, and I want to hang out with like-minded creators like yourself. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So yeah, you said you're in it to win it. I'm in it till I can't do it any longer. And hopefully I win it along the way. But yeah, I got one more thing I want to share with everybody, like a big reveal, and then actually maybe I'll do the big my big sales pitch first, and I'll get into the pre-launch page. So yeah, this is the black and white pre-launch page for Volume 2, Man vs. Machine. We have all kinds of early bird specials that we're going to do, exclusives. So when you sign up, all it is an email address. It only takes a couple minutes, and then you can get access for those early bird specials and exclusives. And with the backing, you get a free trading card. So there's this killer trading card. Stefani Rene had some time, so he threw some colors over this, and nice. I think it looks brilliant, man. He did such a great job. And so yeah, we're gonna have this, as a freebie with the pre-launch signer uppers. So the link is in the description, you guys. So please click on it. Sign up, and let's check this video out. Yeah! Man versus Machine. I love this video. Red Gaze, you killed it. Yeah, man. So killer. It always gets my adrenaline pumping. Yeah, so you guys come by, sign up, and be part of this this volume 2 60-page graphic novel. Joe and I do have some ideas that we may do an epilogue to the story, so it may be 64 pages. We're going to do that as a stretch goal, and that's going to be a fun, just little addition to the story, and it's going to be very character driven, and it's going to kind of show you where possibly this series will go from here. So I'm hoping we can fund and we can get to that point to where Joe and I can put that together for you. So here is the reveal, you guys. Joe, oh wait, that's the wrong one. Joe is one of the big reveals, probably the biggest reveal, but then we're going to do this one as well. So this is the cover to Black and White. So this will be the cover to volume 2, and there's Chang, the evil Chang, his mechs, and Black and White in all their glory. So this is colors by Priya. He's going to be doing the interiors as well. He's freaking brilliant.
Yeah, one of the things that you told me when we were talking in the very early days was that you wanted to scale things up quite a bit. And so a lot of our discussions included how to make things bigger, badder, and more consequential for not just Black and White themselves, but the supporting characters. And we ended up going so big and bad that it really turns out there are consequences for the entire world, depending on how our heroes do.
Yeah, this will change the face of this reality forever if they do not achieve their goals, for sure. Yeah, so this is Black and White. So that's Whitney Sung, aka White. There's Reed Blackett, aka Black. He's got his blasters. She's got her staff. And we have Uncle Yi there with the baseball bat. We have Brooks Gray there with his EMP blaster. So then we have our 2 henchmen, and we have Jake Chang, aka JC. So I dig this cover. I think it looks great. We got the purple rocks, as we referred to them as a child. The pretty purple rocks
plays a big part in book 2.
Yes, a huge part. So yeah, so you guys, please come by, sign up. Like I said, the link is in the description. Sign up for Black and White. And I just realized one thing. We kind of are Black and White. If we were switched, Yeah, yours is darker, mine's lighter. Yeah,
Yep.
it's cool. Yeah. So thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out. Thanks for letting us just like brag on ourselves for a while. Joe is incredible. He's got Outliers coming, pretty soon. So go check out his YouTube channel. He talks about Outliers. He's going to keep you guys updated on all the goings on with Outliers. Do you have a tentative date yet for Outliers, or?
It really is going to depend on how soon we can get enough signups to the mail list. I want to try to get to 500, and I'll actually drop the links here in the chat in case people are interested. So my YouTube channel here is called Fulton Land. I'm dropping that in. And then the mail list, I can also put that in the chat. But I would love to launch around September, October if we can. But if we're not able to get enough signups, then it would probably be around February, March of next year.
Very good, very good. And Joe has let some of that stuff leak just to me, and it's going to be fantastic. It is going to be everything that superheroes should be that aren't.
Yep.
is what it's going to be. And yeah, it's great to have you on board, Joe. I'm glad we can finally reveal this for everybody. And yeah, I guess we are going to have to. I'm going to get some lunch, and I'm going to get back to work on Black and White. Cool. So, are you going to do some Outliers work?
Yep, absolutely.
Hell yeah, brother. And just to tease, we may be bringing back pontificators as well, so that may be in our future. So very good, you guys. Once again, thanks to everybody. Comicsgate rocks, and take care, and we'll see you soon.